Welcome to my podcast, Traumatic Transformations, where we help you find hope, peace, and purpose after a big life change or a traumatic event. I'm your host, Kunjini Patel, and I'm a licensed mental health therapist, trauma specialist, and a neuroscience nerd. Join me as I dive deep into resiliency, post-traumatic growth, and normalized mental health to reduce the stigma associated with it. In each episode, I plan to deliver science-backed, actionable tips and strategies so you can take back the control over your life and be inspired to be the best version of yourself with each day forward. So tune in every Tuesday for a featured guest and every Thursday for a solo episode with me, where we unpack mind, body, brain, and spirit connections related to each episode with the featured guest. Just a quick disclaimer before we begin today. The purpose of this podcast is to inform you, educate you, and raise your awareness. It is not intended to replace any medical advice or professional help seeking that you may need. So please use this information wisely, and any opinion that I cast is not to replace any medical advice. And quickly before we start today, I just wanted to ask you a favor. If you like what you hear today, don't forget to subscribe so you never have to miss an episode. Thank you so much. And if you rate and review, it would really help us with the algorithms so people can easily search the show if they would like. So I would really love to hear your feedback and what you have to say so I can bring you the content that's most fit for you. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Traumatic Transformations. I'm your host, Kunjini Patel, and I'm so excited that you tuned in today because I have an amazing guest lined up, and I can't wait to learn all the wealth of knowledge that she has to offer. So here we go. Today we have with us Lois Hollis. She is an RN, BSN, and a Reverend who shifts our opinion on one of the most forbidden subjects, which is shame and guilt. Her passion is to show the way to self-love by alleviating the suffering of shame and guilt. And I love that topic because every one of us who's been through some kind of traumatic situation in our life has head-on faced these very deep, important concepts that we can completely learn from Lois and overcome. So stay tuned in. She suffered from depression, anxiety, 30 years of migraine headaches and pain were Lois's way of life until she learned about the dangers of shame and guilt. She realized that shame, guilt was within everything she felt. The good news was that she could heal her anger, depression, migraines, guilt, rage, fears, pain from her neck, head, rib traumas. The solution to her emotional and physical problems was in confronting shame. She shares her 15 years of experience as a shame guilt educator, counselor, filmmaker to give us an effective, lasting way to health, wellness, and spiritual maturity. Lois comes to us with a lifelong background in health. She began as a nurse's aide at 12 and continues today at 77 years young. Lois experienced several spiritual encounters that began with a near death in childhood from physical abuse. She's a trailblazer. She started by developing one of the first kidney hemodialysis centers in the United States. Today, Lois brings shame and guilt together as a new field to study. She's an author of 3 books and a video of Soul Speaks as an original process that brings peace to our inner personalities. Her newest book, Now is the Time, contains her light language readings that expand our spiritual development. Her new film, I Am Good, illustrates shame, guilt, trickery. So Lois, thank you so much. Wow. Can't wait to talk to you about all of this in the next hour. So thank you so much for being here and joining us today.
Oh, thank you. And I love your enthusiasm.
I love what I do, so it comes naturally.
You have to.
Yes.
Or why bother? Why bother?
Right,
Why bother?
Exactly. And doing what I do, I eventually am finally at a place in my life where I found that, this keeps me waking up every morning is to be able to make an impact on other people, learn and share my stories and all the healings that I have done over time and the experiences that my patients have given me and the people that I connect with through this medium it's very addicting.
That's the interesting thing.
Right.
Health isn't very addictive. And that's what happened to me. I've always been in health. My whole life has been, how can I be healthier? Because I felt without health, what do I have? You can't buy health.
Oh, tell me about it.
You have to be very smart, especially today.
Yes.
So I had a very abusive childhood.
Yeah.
Broken bones and brain traumas and broken jaws, et cetera, et cetera. And God allowed me to keep living by sending me help. And it wasn't until my 40s that I developed deepening problems because that's what happens. Shame and guilt and traumas keep building and building and building.
Thank you that you are mentioning that because you're 77 years young. I am glad that because I'm very big on that. I'm glad that, you say that because that's one of my ongoing mantra to people. If you don't resolve it, it compounds with time. Unfortunately, it just doesn't go away till you look at it, face it, and work through it.
Right. And I wanted to mention that positive thinking is very important. I just did a podcast about that, and I was asked the question, why don't you believe in positive talking? And I said, of course I believe in that. I wouldn't get up in the morning if I didn't.
Right.
But that's not going to bring me a home run.
Yes.
I'm going to be first base or second base. I want to have a home run. I want to be happy and healthy and effective. But positive thinking will get you so far.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that because,
that's very, very, very important because positive thinking in its extreme makes you feel more shameful.
Yes.
Because I keep doing these positive things. I must be so bad.
Yes.
That I can't even do positive thinking correctly.
And, it's really interesting that you mentioned that because there is a whole concept of toxic positivity these days.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
I'm very happy to hear that because it is. It's true.
It is. If you can, and then it's not healthy, I think, to be positive all the time. It is impossible. As humans, we are conditioned to go through valleys and to go through mountains. Nothing will last forever. Everything is in a state of constant. I'm a very big believer on change is the only constant we have. And we cannot be positive all the time because that's just not realistic.
It's not healthy.
Yes.
Okay. So in my 40s, I became depressed, repressed, and I needed some help. So I did therapy, which made me not want to commit suicide anymore. So it was helpful.
Yes.
I was at that point. So I understand. I felt so shameful that I thought the world would be better off without me. So I can really feel that with people.
Been there, done that. So I attest to that.
Yeah. But I was on first base or second base.
Yep.
One day a friend of mine said, what did you do about shame? And I went, that's an interesting word. I have a detective mind. So I have
to relate.
I have to figure it out. I just have to figure it out.
Yes.
So instead of being a detective, I'm a detective of myself.
Yep.
I have to figure it out. So I did research, and because of my spiritual experiences, I've been able to receive information that's unbidden. And the bells and whistles went off in my life. And I said, that's it. Shame and guilt are the root of everything. I don't have to go to counseling for depression. I don't have to go to counseling for pain. I don't have to go counseling for hurt and anxiety. I just need to work with shame and guilt and get rid of it. This was a little bit later, like when I was 50. I said to myself, oh my God, I am so excited because I don't have to be hurt anymore.
Aw.
I don't have to receive emotional. I'm very, very sensitive, obviously. So
Yeah.
emotional hurts go deeply within my soul.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept on going because
Mm-hmm.
I have that resilience. So I was so excited to learn the secret of living.
Aw. So
I the
share that with
secret,
us.
pardon?
I said, so share that with us. I can't
Yeah,
wait to.
to learn how not to be emotionally hurt anymore.
Mm, that's
So I said,
powerful.
I will not die now because I want to enjoy living, not being hurt.
Yes.
Finally, at 50, I understand how
Yeah.
it works.
Mm.
So I was so happy personally.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously I changed. I got younger, lost my gray hair and everything. I was younger, 20 years
Yep.
older. So
Hey.
everybody came to me and said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I said, "I'm talking to myself and doing this and that." So that's how my practice began because people came to me to look the
Mhm.
way I did, and they all changed as well. They sent
Absolutely.
their grandmothers and cousins and kids into me, and they all changed. So I got so tired of saying the same thing over and over again. I wrote my first book
Yay.
because I said I can't say this anymore because it doesn't matter if you don't have a husband or you have a relationship problem or you're suicidal or you want more business or you want more money. The answer's the same.
Mm.
And so anyway, so that started all of this. However,
Mm-hmm.
15 years ago, nobody wanted to hear about shame and guilt because, oh,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I was offered speaking engagements many times. They said,
Mm-hmm.
"What is your topic?" And I told them shame, guilt. And they said, "Oh, we don't
We don't
talk."
talk about that.
Now,
Yeah.
can you talk about peace and love and joy and happiness? I says, of course, that's easy. I
Yes.
mean, seriously, how
Yes.
easy is
Yes.
that
Yes.
not? Just be happy and be positive and you're fine.
You can be
But
happy and be positive if you have all this shame and guilt underneath.
they did not say that.
Of course.
They want to talk peace, love, and joy and happiness and shh, go away. So I was not a star speaker.
Right. Well,
However,
look at you now.
the pandemic happened
Mm.
and people had to stay at home and with their emotions and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's saying, I think I feel not good enough. I can't. And so now it become a hot topic. So anyway,
Hey, in Hindi or in Gujarati, that's one of my native languages, and there is a whole saying because my mom was all about idioms, and growing up, she would use all these things, right? Because she would tell us, she would tell us, she would tell us, and we were just like, okay, mom. And then eventually we'll be like, Mom, guess what? I just, really thought about today. And she's like, I've been telling you this for 15 years. But then she'll be like, just to make herself feel better, there's a saying called Jagya Tyati Savar, meaning whenever you wake up is when morning starts. So even if you
exactly.
wake up 50 years later, I've been telling you this forever. All of a sudden, it's your idea. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at.
Yeah. And the consciousness has changed. We have more light coming in. That's a whole nother story. But
Yes,
anyway,
yes, yes.
may I offer why I believe shame guilt
Yes, please.
is
That's why you're here. Please, please.
okay. Shame guilt. I call it shame guilt, not shame and guilt, because it is the same
Mm,
energy.
okay.
Okay. We have love energy coming into us. And
Mm-hmm.
how do we feel? Joy, happiness, and peace.
Yep, yep.
We have shame guilt energy,
Mm,
which makes the emotions of depression and anger and suicide and hatred.
mm-hmm.
Shame guilt energy changes your compassion
Mm,
to depression.
mm,
Shame guilt energy changes your intuition to
mm-hmm.
anxiety.
Mm,
Shame guilt energy changes your passion
mm-hmm.
into anger.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like the computer virus that comes in your computer,
Yep.
hacks it, and it's all a mess, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what shame guilt does to our physical bodies and
Mm,
our mental bodies. So
absolutely.
shame guilt is responsible for our physical ailments as well as our emotional problems. And it also plays havoc with our soul.
Absolutely. This is what
So,
this podcast is about: mind, body, brain, and spirit. Because we're all holistically, all of the things, our traumas that we go through affect all of that.
of course,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm not saying that only that needs to happen for health. We
Mm-hmm.
need to do our physical body well, eat the right foods, and et
Exactly.
cetera, et cetera. I'm
Yep.
saying that the beginning hack that
Mm,
shame guilt does to our bodies
mm,
causes the disruption that
mm.
we don't think as clearly.
Yes.
We don't feel as clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know it's bad for me, but I don't really care what I eat anyway. That kind of feeling,
Yes.
which a
Yes.
lot of people have, and it's okay. I did the same thing. I used to eat pies, like the whole pie, not a little pie.
Lois.
My kids used to say, "Mom, wasn't there an apple pie in the refrigerator yesterday?" And I went, yeah, it's gone. So I had to buy when I went to store, I had to buy two apple pies. I ate one and then I saved one for the kids. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
So I know where you're coming from, people. It's okay.
I shouldn't be laughing, but you're funny, I have to say.
But it's true.
It
I
is
admit it.
true. It is true.
So I didn't, of course I know better, but I'll still eat the whole pie.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that, believe me,
Yep. It really seeped into your
it's deep.
subconscious. Yep,
It's
yep,
into it.
yep.
So now the question is, why then do we say shame is bad? Not we, but cultural says
Culture,
shame.
society, the messages we give our
Yeah.
kids, well, just like you corrected me the
Yeah.
other day, so I would want you to do that to my audience.
Shame is bad, but guilt is okay. We need to be guilt for being moral. And a lot of people say, oh no, we need more shame because people are amoral.
No.
And I go, shame and guilt are the same energy.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they chop it up?
Mm-hmm.
As a nurse, I know that if you have a virus or bacteria in your brain, they call it meningitis.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the same virus or bacteria in your colon, they call it colitis.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes on, like if it's in your lungs, they call it pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
Shame is in the unconscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
and guilt's in the conscious mind. So they give it different names, but it's the same energy. So that's what messes people up. I really want people to hear that. Shame, guilt. It's not shame and guilt.
Mm.
There is no healthy poison.
True.
And shame, guilt is a poison.
Yep.
Guilt is a poison, and shame. Well, people say, "Oh, well, then how can I do this if I it's the guilt I live by my guilt because I don't want to be guilty." So I'm inviting people who feel that way. Can you please say to yourself, "I want to help my friend with her decorations in her house,
Right.
because I feel it's the right thing to do, not because I'll feel guilty if I don't help her."
Thank you. Love it. Yes.
We need to evolve.
Yes.
We are all on an evolutionary track,
Journey.
if
Yep.
we know it or not.
Yep.
And if
No,
you
we
don't want
are.
to go, we are.
Yes.
It's called Daniel Palmer, the original of chiropractic,
Mm-hmm.
called it eternal progression.
Mm.
We are all, it's our humanity
Yep.
is eternal progression. It's
Yep.
called you're on a treadmill without an off button.
I love it. Yes, 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 yes. And
So
yes,
we're going evolving if you like it or not.
yes, yes. And I think that's one of the reasons why we go through or are faced with suffering in order to evolve into our higher self, that without it, we would just be staying in this plateau and just autopiloting through life.
Well, a lot of people are, but then they get a major whop.
Absolutely.
And okay, I get it. So everybody has their own way. I'm stating the structure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So when people say guilt is good, you go, no healthy poison.
Yes.
Also, I want to get across to everyone that their failings of not feeling good enough, or anxiety and depression and any negativity they feel is the result of the hack of shame, guilt, energy. That is your enemy. Your mother is not your enemy. Your father is not, the school you went to, the church, the government. Everything has shame, guilt in it. And that's, I'll discuss in my movie in January.
Yay!
However, we need to say to ourselves when we have these feelings of not good enough, That is shame. Shame is not of me.
Mm.
Shame is a foreign energy to the human body. Okay.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
That's another story. But
Unfortunately, we internalize it and we make it us.
of course we do. We were told to.
Yep.
Shame on you.
Yes.
How many
Yes.
people have told that shame on you? And then when we talk in our conversations, oh, it's such a shame. It's raining today. I can't have my barbecue outside. I'm going, it's not a shame. It's sad. But
Yes.
everyone uses it in their vocabulary.
Yes, yes, yes. Because then we've now evolved into a culture of, because, and one of the things we were talking about, and we'll get to this in a minute, but, when we are born as children, we're born full of love. Like we don't know anything else. And
but we still carry this shame from our genetic line.
Yes, 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 yes. Because it is
it's generational
trauma.
It's generational.
So yes, we carry.
But we have more love.
Triggered.
Yeah.
When we are triggered, there are certain life experiences or certain things that happen that triggers those shame and guilt experiences, and then it triggers a lot of our depression, PTSD, anxiety, and all of that stuff that we feel. So it's really important to think about it from a healing perspective, because, like you said, life is evolutionary. We continue to evolve and we continue to heal over time. So we're born with all this love, but then, we raise ourselves through our language, through our beliefs, through our cultural, and our environmental factors. And we grow into this and we give in till we realize, oh my gosh, this is not working anymore. Where, anything, like I was telling you the other day, just in terms of the language we use, and even with our children, just subconsciously, we end up keep and perpetuating more of it,
because that's all we know.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's my passion, is to say there is another way.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about, so the other day, and you did an amazing job, and I really want to talk about that and spend some time talking about this, because how we've become so over apologetic as a society, and we apologize for everything. And, we are so worried about what other people will do with what we say. And I'll give them an example just to give them a perspective of what happened the other day when Lois and I were talking about things earlier before we met today. We were talking, I was running late. I mean, there was something happening. My 2.5-year-old was banging at the door, and I literally had to leave and say, sorry, Lois, I'll be right back. Would you, and then I came back and I was like, so sorry, Lois, that I had to really go take care of my child and, make sure that he was taken care of so I could be back to you. And I apologize for the time that I had left. And what did you tell me? Please tell people.
No, you tell it from your voice.
So I come back and Lois was like, wait a second. That was very shaming. Why would you be apologetic for this? You didn't do this deliberately. You didn't mean to cause me harm, or you didn't cause me harm. And if you did, I would tell you. But why are you apologizing? Instead, say, excuse me, I had to leave. I had to make sure that my child was okay. There was nothing to apologize for. And it literally, since then, and after we ended our conversation, which was a short conversation because I knew I was going to meet with her and talk to her more about this. And she said, what I said to you today will continue to resonate with you forever. And it did. Ever since I met her a few days ago, I could not stop talking about her and have this literally deep now in my subconscious, where even today, I might have been running late for this interview. And I told her, I was like, Lois, please make sure that I excuse myself or please allow me grace if I'm running 5 to 10 minutes late for this conversation. So I hope that's okay with you. And I hope you can understand. And she was like, wow, I really like how you didn't apologize for it. And I was just like, yes, you taught me a lesson and I learned it. I'm a good student.
Yes. It's an awareness.
Yeah.
So on this note, what I find that people don't know what shame, guilt behaviors are. So I made a little list.
Yay, thank you. I love how prepared you are, because I also want you to talk about that example that you gave me about your grandchildren and how you took that wrong turn and that story, because that was amazing. And I really think that we as people could use that lesson from you and that story, because I think it's really important what you do with your family and how you teach your family, as and even those little kids, how you teach with them.
I told them that yeah, I made a wrong turn. It was late at night and I was driving the kids home in a foreign city,
Yeah.
which I've been before, but it's DC. Give me a break.
Yeah.
And I missed their house.
Yep.
And they go, Asha, you missed their house. You made a mistake. And I go, yeah, but I did a da.
Yep.
I did a da. And they laugh. They go, ha, 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 Asha did a da.
Aw.
And it changed their whole focus that they couldn't make me feel bad.
Yeah.
They didn't feel bad.
Yeah.
And so we went to the house and they said, oh, Asha did a da. It was so funny. She missed the house.
Yeah.
So my daughter is cooking dinner and she went, oh no, I burnt the muffins.
Yeah.
And the kids start laughing. I mean, we're talking a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. They're running around the house. They go, Mommy did a da, Mommy did a da. She burnt the muffins.
Yeah.
And everybody start laughing.
Yes.
And my daughter felt well too.
Exactly. But see how simple that can be and how little things can make such a significant difference in the way we treat each other, in the way we treat mistakes, in the way we treat small, innocent, wrong turns.
Yeah. So I also mentioned that if the kid was a teenager and did not study for a test and failed the test, oh, that's not a da.
Yeah.
That's not a da. Yeah, it's not a da. Okay. You intentionally did not study and for whatever reason, and this is not okay. So we're talking about a grave injury here. This is not the da thing.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. So anything, just to clarify, and this is the way I understood it, is that when we do things deliberately to hurt someone else or to do something that we didn't mean, it's one thing when we don't mean to do certain things and innocently we just end up,
missing a turn or burning the pudding or, whatever.
Yeah. Things, life,
Life happens.
And there are things that we deliberately do or intentionally do to cause other people harm or, do things that are not so nice. There's a big difference. And the way we treat each of those, unfortunately, are very similar.
Exactly.
We need to be more aware and self-aware of the fact that when it's done unintentionally, we also need to be careful of the language that we use so that we're not shaming and guilting ourselves more for some of the things that we could have done or we have interpreted them as very shameful and guilty behaviors.
Especially with our children. Like my grandsons, they put their right foot shoe on the left foot and all that. And then the other kid starts laughing, goes, ha ha ha, look at George. He's doing the biggest style, Mom. Look at the ball he's doing.
Yeah. And it's so silly, but yet, it can be
very meaningful.
Yes.
Very meaningful.
Yes.
Okay. Shame, guilt behaviors. We all know bullying is.
Oh, yes.
That is transferring shame from one person to another. And that's why the bullying person feels good and the bullied person, the receiver, feels bad because he received the shame from another person.
Yes.
Shame is transferable.
So well put. Yes.
So is love. It's an energy.
How powerful. Yes.
Emotional neglect.
Give me some examples of that, please. Because a lot of people, I know that, but a lot of people don't recognize that.
Okay. The kid comes home and 5 years old says to his mom, oh, Mom, I miss our Kelly, our cat.
Yes.
And I used to hold him when I came home from school. And I told him all about the teacher that don't like me. And I miss Kelly, the cat, Mommy. And Mommy says, oh, get on with it. Do your homework. And we got things to do.
Yes.
Because the mother can't handle the emotional thing. Now, what you can say is, I understand, George, that it hurts me as well. Perhaps we can get another cat or we can get you an animal to talk to.
Yes. Thank you.
However, we need to get our homework done today and remind me tomorrow we will go shopping. That's all. What did that take? 30 seconds?
Yes. Yes. So important. And that's when I'm very, very, very big on empathy. And I do that for my work, and it just comes naturally to me now over time, just being trained in it. And I'm just like that as a person. But empathy, I think, is a very hard skill that people have a hard time with because they don't know. We grow up in a culture where emotions are not always welcomed or associated with weakness. So it's, if anyone is, especially kids, when they're feeling their big emotions, we as parents sometimes, I mean, I include myself in it because
we try to minimalize it.
Yes. And we say, no, it's okay. Just get over it. No, it's okay. We don't know what to do with it. So we don't address it. And
exactly.
if you do not address it and repress it or deny it or ignore it, it comes back tenfold. And I think it's really important. Emotional neglect from childhood, if that's happening, then that's where the shame chipping starts, and then it stays with you, and it unfortunately plays out in your relationships later on in life.
And it builds and it builds and it builds because Absolutely. It has fertile ground to grow. Now, I am extremely sensitive, like off the charts kind of sensitive.
Okay.
However, during my lifetime, before I got shame smart.
Yeah. shame guilt smart.
Smart, yeah. And until I got that shame guilt smart, I was always injured. Oh, you're too sensitive, Lois. Lighten up. You're too sensitive. It's just ridiculous. And most people don't take that as a factor. It's you're just too sensitive.
Right.
Now, what I say when somebody says, "Oh, Lois, you're just too sensitive," and I say, "Oh, thank you so much for the compliment. I will live longer."
I love what you do with your words. Yes.
Because it's true. I cannot eat any, like I'll drink some wine or something and get sick right away because I can't do the yeast. My body will just not take toxic, whatever.
Okay.
So that I have an internal, I don't have to read the label.
Right.
I just smell it. Go, oh no, it ain't going to work for me. So I say, oh, thank you so much for noticing.
Yeah. And they don't know what to do with that.
They don't know what to do with that. I did not accept their shame.
Yes.
So everybody else does.
Yeah.
And I go, no, thank you so much for the compliment. I'll live longer. And which is true. I'm 77, doing fine.
Yeah, it's so true. Because, one of the things that after we spoke, I ended up going to some of my friends and they were talking about what other people say is what they say, but how we take it and react to it is on us, and if people don't like what we have to say, they can say goodbye and not associate with us. And that's okay.
But now we know why.
Yeah.
Which makes it more definitive and more of a, ability to correct it. So that's why the first thing to do is to learn what shame guilt behaviors are. And in my website, I have an ebook of 500 questions, one answer. Now, you don't get the 500 questions right away because I had to overwhelm you.
Yeah.
So they said, Lois, you could come on, you got to give us a little time here. So I give 25 questions at a time so that you can digest it. And I explain how we can give or receive shame guilt in 500 ways.
Wow.
So we learn the scope of it.
Yes.
Because people have write to, unlike a Dear Abby, they write to me, what would you do?
Right.
And so I just put them all together.
Awesome.
And I made an ebook out of 500 questions.
Yay. Okay. We'll definitely check it out.
That's definitely
second.
Learning.
Yes.
Passive aggressive.
I love that one. Yes.
And that's shaming because you're like, why would a fool do that when they can't do it themselves? I mean, everybody knows the passive aggressive thing.
Yeah.
And it's so insidious. And so another one is micromanaging somebody.
So true. Yes.
That is the most horrible, destructive thing to do to somebody is constantly micromanage them. Okay, I say, if I'm going to fall off the cliff on my car, please let me know. But, if my dress doesn't match my shoes, please, it's okay. Like,
Yes.
I like it that way or something. I mean,
Right.
really, there's a time and a place, but I don't
Right.
need to be told, wear my hat today because it's cold or something. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's just annoying.
Right.
Um, Justification. Oh, that's what we talked about before. Justification. Oh, why did you? Uh, um, you don't have to explain everything you do. Like
Yes.
you do something and you go, now if they asked you why did you do that, okay, but you say, oh, I'm going to the market because I need some oranges and peaches and pears, and I'm going to um, Crown Market instead of George's Market because they have better produce.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm going to go now because I mean, like really, I'm going to the market. Bye.
I absolutely couldn't agree more.
So the
Absolutely.
justification, because you feel like your words don't mean anything, you have to justify why you're
Uh-huh.
saying it because you're inferior.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't agree more. Let's, and I think it causes more guilt, or it's a way, and again, it's like our way of managing other people's emotions, as
It's
opposed to realizing we
taking the
have something to do. We're
responsibility.
going to be doing it. We're being very assertive, succinct, very firm, and very to the point. There is no need for an entire story if we decide to do something at all times.
Exactly. Now, if they want to know why, you tell them. And
Yeah.
never, never say my shame or my guilt.
Yes. Yes.
Never
Good one.
own it.
Yes.
Never, never. But we do. I mean,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
caught myself too after 15 years. So,
Yeah. I think just awareness in the first place is a very big, big part to change. If we realize that we're doing these things, then we
yes,
know how to change it. But if we don't realize and we just keep going through it and keep building upon it,
unconscious,
then it gets worse.
unconscious.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Okay. To motivate people
Mm-hmm.
to do work on this particular subject,
Yes.
in my own experience
Mm-hmm.
and in experience of other people that have done a great amount of work,
Yep.
their IQ goes up. They
Mm.
become smarter. Okay, I can't put that in a note on my website. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, how can you say that and so
Right.
and
Right.
so.
Right.
But I can talk to you in a general conversation and
Mm-hmm.
say people have a tendency to get smarter, and the reason is they're clearer.
Hmm. And I think it's not just IQ. I think their EQ goes up too which is emotional intelligence, when
Of
we
course,
understand, or when we at least start to address that those emotions exist, we become smarter to become aware of it, to manage it. Just like you gave the example of the mommy and the cat. It's like if you just ignore the emotions, get over it, repress it, and teach the kid to do the same. That's not teaching them emotional intelligence. That's
of
teaching
course
them
not.
don't talk about it.
Denial.
Yeah. And denial is not the answer to change. So if we teach and address that, oh, it seems like you're sad about, like with my son, even I'll do, he's 2.5. He hardly, but I'll teach him emotions and feeling words. Emotions and feelings are two separate things, even though we use it interchangeably. But I'll teach him that you're feeling sad. And he'll say, I'm feeling sad, mommy. And I'm like, what, why? And then he'll tell me why he is sad, or
Yeah.
he's angry, or he's disappointed. You have to teach, or you have to understand what emotions you are feeling, so you know how to better manage it and know what to do with it and process through it. So
And
not
what's
just
the cause of it?
IQ, but
Yeah,
EQ.
the cause of it. So the energy of the shame guilt
Yep.
interferes with our processing of mental, biological things within our own brain. And we could become very technical this, but there have been many studies that
Yep.
show that they tested people that were shamed and
Yep.
then tested them with being told they were good.
Mm.
And the ones that were shamed with shame words had a
Yep.
lower score IQ wise. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, okay, that was a temporary thing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but long term, that it destroys our ability to concentrate and organize and orchestrate.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, because I absolutely agree that, that over time, if you continue this shaming behavior, it can, like we were talking
Cloud you,
about
and
earlier.
it distorts our brain
Yes,
energy. Now we're
because
going to
then
talk
we,
about hormones and parts of the brain and all that, but sometimes when we get too technical, we
Mhm.
lose the practicality of what were they saying. I don't know what to do.
Right.
I'm more practical.
Same here. Yep.
Because
That's why
that's
I
what,
like giving people actionable tips and tools and strategies to use, as in, like, just like you were saying. And I want to spend a little bit of time before I let you go about language and the importance of language towards ourselves and other people, and how you were, and from your education perspective, how words affect behaviors.
well, we just did. Not only the words we use, but the
Right.
tonality
Yes.
of it
Yep.
goes straight to us. Now, people that are sensitive, and you usually your clients are sensitive because they're aware that they have a problem. They want to do something about it. People that aren't aware just do the positive thing and
Mhm.
keep doing positive. Well,
But not always. A lot of times I feel, even with my cousins or friends and family, they'll be like, I'm so stupid. And I'm like, wait, don't say that to yourself. You wouldn't say that to your kid, even for making something silly mistake. And even if they don't mean it so badly to themselves,
they
but
said it to
they
themselves.
said it to themselves. And it just over
Okay.
time.
When someone's calls, my favorite one is, I don't know in your area, but a lot of people, younger people, use the word "my bad" when they make a mistake.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
go,
I use it.
oh my God, that's the worst thing to use. My bad.
Right.
You're telling yourself you're bad.
Mm.
That is so destructive. I wrote a big article in my emails on that one day, and my kid said, "Mom, that's okay." I go ahead. No, that is not. How is that okay to call yourself bad? You can
Yeah.
say "excuse me" or something, but
Yep.
what words
Yep.
we use to ourselves are thousands of times more effective than hearing affirmations from other people.
Yes. So well put.
So, what I did, because I had so much negative input from
Hmm.
childhood, is
Hmm.
that I made a recording of myself saying, I'm good, you did that really good, or I'm
I love
pretty,
that.
or, something like that. I, did like 5 minutes. So then I recorded it again to get 10 minutes. Then I got to record again to 20 minutes, then to 40 minutes. So I,
I love that.
I played, we did not have iPhones and things. We had a tape recorder. Okay.
Right.
So I put the tape recorder in the car or when I was shopping, and I would hear these affirmations from my voice.
I love that. Because a lot of times when we hear affirmation from other people, we always have that self doubt and we don't hear
It
it.
doesn't
It
resonate.
doesn't resonate because we're like, and sometimes I teach people to, if you hear it enough, you'll one day believe it. But I like this idea better,
Of
where if you
yourself.
say it to yourself, because you said it to yourself, and that's one of the things that I focus on in my work with them is inner child healing, which is where they say good things, or it's like things that you say to yourself now. I'll use my example at 40 is different than things I said to myself when I was 16. So I have to go back to my inner child and tell her everything that she needed to hear, say, or do in order for her and for that process to feel natural. I can't hear
Exactly.
it from other people. I have to hear it from myself, knowing my evolved self, or
Telling
my
it to
future
myself.
self that
Yeah.
would say that to that younger child self, because at that time she didn't know any better. She did all those things as a result of just not knowing, and that's okay.
Yeah. So also I did when I was driving a car
Yeah.
and I got to someone's house, and I'm very dyslexic. So for me to find a place without getting lost, this was a big deal. So anyway, I said, Lois, you did so good. You found the house that you were
Yes,
looking
yes,
for.
yes, yes.
Or if I got lost, I go, oh, I did so good. I only got lost twice.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
you can make anything a positive.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
that's what I did. I did so well. I got on the bus at the right time and I arrived perfectly at the good time. No matter how mundane it is, I
Yep.
complimented myself.
Yep. That's
Even
what builds self confidence. That's what builds back self esteem. That's what builds back your self love. That's what
because
builds
I
back
didn't
your
feel
self
that I
worth.
could compliment myself for writing a good book or writing
Right.
a good talk
Yep.
because I wasn't there. I
Yep.
was just living.
Yep.
I had to compliment myself for getting my teeth brushed and good teeth. I mean, you can
Yep.
compliment yourself for anything. And that's slowly, I came out of the hole.
Yes. And that's what, unfortunately, what we don't realize when we experience depression, anxiety, or trauma, that's one of the things that happen. Our sense of core, or our sense of belonging and safety and self worth, are so deeply affected by some of the things that happen in our life and the way we internalize that experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as important to rebuild your sense of core through these
You
very
have to.
small baby steps, but
You have
very
to.
monumental in the process of healing and changing.
And another thing that I did was I did not know what I wanted to do
Yeah.
in my 40s.
Yeah.
So I would take sticky notes
Yeah.
and put, I like music.
Mm.
I like to eat good food. I actually put sticky notes on me to try to help me to know what I like and what I don't like, because I was told what I should like and what I don't.
Yes.
I was
So
told
good.
I had no self.
Yes.
I had other people's selves within me.
Love it. I couldn't agree with
So
more.
I'm sorry, go back to, I'm sorry. See, please excuse me.
Thank
I
you.
said, I'm sorry.
Good one.
Yeah, see, we need each other. We need
Yes,
people
yes,
to call us.
yes.
So,
Uh, I
let's go back where you wanted me to go.
This is exactly where I wanted you to go. This was
Oh, okay.
exactly, that was so powerful because I really think it's important the language
Oh, okay.
that we use for ourselves, the way we treat ourselves, the way we talk ourselves, and rebuild those neural connections of positiveness towards ourselves or love to ourselves. And, take the more love we give ourselves, the more we etch away at the guilt and guilt, shame energy. Go ahead.
It is said that we need 3 positive to offset 1 negative.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
So I had to do a lot of positives.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know we're ending,
Yep.
and I want to end with this:
Yes.
that the part of us that is the star of our personality, who's the ringleader, who's in charge, is our inner critic.
So
Okay.
true.
He or she.
Yep.
It can be either one. However, we cannot slice them out and tell them to shut up and go away. A lot of therapies that tell us to do that.
No, it doesn't
We
work.
have to say, hi,
Yep.
and thank you so much for talking to me.
Absolutely.
What is your name?
Yeah.
And in my video on YouTube is the king is my inner critic. And I show you how we keep talking and we eventually become partners. I tell him, it's the year 2020.
Yep.
And I have learned a lot of things. So you can ease up on your restraints because I've learned a lot. So it's a matter of talking. Sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes a year. So it just depends. But it's opening the door to look at the inner critic as a very good protector who needs to be brought to the year 2020. And he doesn't know that because he would not know that. So I wanted, So
good point. I love it. Love it. Because I really think, it's like a lot of times in terms of the therapy work, I am very big on self-judgment and critiquing ourselves because we're so easy to do that. And, we are the last people that we're compassionate with if you're if you're programmed for certain things, and if you've been through certain trauma, or if you've been through depression or really deep, dark stuff. And one of the biggest things that I find is that, and the way I help my patients heal with that is that I tell them that if you had a best friend or if you had a sister, what would you tell them to overcome that situation? And, oftentimes we're so much kinder to our other people.
We are, of course.
And not ourselves. And then they look back and they're like, yeah. So then I ask, why doesn't that apply to you? And that's where...
Yeah, and that's where you have
the shame and guilt factor. Looked at hardcore and head on, as in, why do I keep doing this to myself?
Because your inner critic is not in the year 2020.
Absolutely. So it's so important to bring your inner critique up to date to who you are today by continuing to challenge it, by continuing to love it, by continuing to forgive it, because it served a purpose at the time. It helped protect us.
It still helps us, but in a more of a evolutionary way.
and forgiving, ourselves for being through some of those things a lot of times, because it's like at 6 or 7 or 8 or 10, 20, we didn't know any better. We don't. That's why we evolve. That's why we grow. That's why we become our better version of ourselves. And, what I am going to be 20 years from now is not who I am today. So I have to forgive myself for not knowing. Same thing. I have to forgive myself for not knowing what I didn't know 20 years ago, but it taught me and who I am today.
But yeah, and that's when like my anxiety or anger part, and they all have names. No Name was my anger part. He had no name.
Yeah.
So when they heal, when they release the shame, guilt they are carrying, somehow there's no need for forgiveness. It's an awareness. It just is like it's almost as if the event never happened. When they're like, when you have a scar, I mean, a cut and it's bleeds, and then, oh my, no. And what happens when it's totally healed? You ever look at it and go, it doesn't even matter because you can't even see it anymore.
Right.
That's how healing can happen to that degree, that as if it's never happened, which is really an awesome state to have.
Right.
So anyway, it's just something to work towards.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I feel very strongly about, that when you have gotten to a place of that complete transformation or sort of recovering or healing, whatever you are in that process or that stage, is that when you have no emotional charge, and it's not that you forget about it, but it's not a daily part of your etching every day, same thing, same loop, negative rabbit hole. It's just, you're liberated, you're free, you're on the other side. It doesn't affect you anymore. It was just a part of your life that existed, that made you into who you are today.
And you said it very well, because you said etching, and it's really like the shame, guilt energy cutting into your soul.
Absolutely. It is.
Actually cutting, and it hurts.
Oh, absolutely. And
that's why people don't even want to find it, because it hurts too much. But we can go around that by talking to the little kids. Anyway, you got it.
Yeah. You got it. Thank you. I appreciate your blessing. Lois, so tell us, how can people find you? Because you have so much to offer. You have so much stuff. Tell me a little bit about your book and all your, if you're on social media, or your email or your website and all of that stuff. How can my audience find you? I'll put all that in my show notes. I have all that information, but just so that they can hear.
The best way is to go to my website, https loishollis.com, LOISHOLLIS.com. Now, on there, we have the way to get my free ebook, and which is the newsletter. You can enter either one of them. Awesome. Also, I give 15-minute free talking.
Oh, awesome.
A lot of times people want to have a session with me, but before they commit to that, they want to talk to me and see if we have something in common.
The right fit. Yep. Perfect. Okay.
Most of my clients are clients that have done therapy for years and years and years, and they're going, I'm tired of coping. I want it fixed. I want to get rid of it.
Yep. Okay.
I'm like I'm the last one. Like, okay, I did everything else. What can I do now?
Yep. And then I'm big on that, because as much as I want everybody to be in therapy and have therapy, I believe that not everybody has access to it. It's not for everybody. So different things work for different people. And that's one of the reasons why I have people from all walks of life who are an expert at their fields, who have figured it out and now are paying it forward. And, I just want people to find that healing, to get that help, to have that hope, and to have a purpose. Because when you find your purpose,
it's huge.
You're passionate about, you wake up to it every morning.
And it's fixable.
Oh, absolutely. So from our stories,
don't know that but we have to say, it's fixable, and that's what hurts sometimes, because we know it's fixable.
Absolutely.
So anyway, best thing is do that, and I am on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Hey. Okay.
And I'm fixing my YouTube channel, and I have a lot of my podcasts now on my website.
Oh, yay! Awesome.
And it's good, because each podcast comes from a different
angle
of shame, guilt, because, as you know, it's a very big topic.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, in 45 minutes, I don't know how much I can cover, but this
I'll
is
come
where I'm
back.
trying to go with.
I'll come back.
I would love to.
I'll come back.
Lois, we'll have to read your book. I'm definitely going to buy your book, and I will definitely be looking forward to your movie. So thank you so much.
I will let you know. I'll keep you
Yes,
posted.
yes, please. I'm actually going to air your episode sometime around that. So that would be perfect. So let me know. I'll have it in the show notes. But really, for today, I am so excited that you are here to teach us all these amazing things and for who you are and just the amazing and awesomeness that you bring.
Well, thank you for receiving.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You did change me. What you did there when I first met you absolutely worked. So yes, thank you. I am always looking to grow, to get better, and to uh, share that with people. And I'm excited that you were here today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Blessings.
No problem. And absolutely for you guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. And if you like what you heard, please, please, please subscribe so you can continue to hear amazing, amazing wisdom from people like Lois and other people that I plan to have on the show. And definitely, definitely, please rate and review us so it can help other people who are looking for this kind of help and to be hopeful and to find their purpose and find peace, find us better on the Google algorithms. We always love getting feedback so we can continue to improve our show and bring in guests that might be relevant to what you're going through in life. But really wishing you a very blessed week, blessed day. And thank you so much for tuning in today and for your time. Until next time, we'll see you later.